Hi guys, thanks for coming back to yet another podcast. This is about the sneaky Constructicons as well as the lesser known hidden Decepticons of the early age, and we're gonna go ahead and begin there. The early age being between it was around the golden age. When people were able to represent each other at kind of a ceramic level of representation, and representatives of the Congress were limited in their ability to foresee the traffic lights of the conquest. And by the traffic lights, I mean their ability to know when the stopping and the going of the embargoes, as well as the shipment of internal revenue and the lactation devices was remedial. And so and so when you start adding everything together, multiplying it outward, you're able to realize what is deep inside your own mind, in your own, what is in your own court. And back then, in the day, the judges were completely responsible for the effects, the causes, and the effects of the petition. And the road to perdition was actually based upon that. And the many military bases that surrounded the effective areas of cities in lockdown, cities in blackouts, and the remembrances of not only the courts but the dealerships of the loving open roads that led from one road to the next. And it was a situation of constant growth when you're able to take your mind off of the constant destruction of oneself, and you're able to suddenly pull yourself up from the bottommost levels. A friend of mine actually told me about this. My friend Kanoa, great friend of mine, great friend, with him in mind, and everything that he's been capable of accomplishing for his family, and the falling into the depths of the Japanese anime. In fact, multiple Japanese animes all at the same time. You get kind of a spicy type of effect. It turns into spices, similar to paprika, similar to a hot sauce of sorts. And so when you lighten up, and instead of seeing the darkened effect of contrast and brightness, when you're able to lighten up, you're able to format the conditions, and you're able to then read the hard drive and the many different parts of it, the partitions, like CDs, the ancient technology of the CD, the diskettes, and going back to the lactation devices, you have a recognition. And there's a limited type of recognition until the times of the courts back in the Golden Age. And the Golden Age was where the remembrances were most important. That is the gleeful nature of the animalistic side of the human being. And that's the importance of the Constructicons, the Destructicons, and the Decepticons. Now, the Decepticons were not only metallic, but they had a soul. They had a spirit that was contained. It was an electric force of nature. And when the Allspark was designed as an asset for the Egyptians to construct their ancient knowledge base, not just the Egyptians, but for the Greeks, the Pantheons, the Romans, and the Romans, when every road led to Rome, that's when you were able to see all the birds up in the skies. You were able to see them in the bronze skies, clouds, the heavens, and you stop there. That's where you realize, hey, that's where that ends there, right at the corner bend. And instead of there being like a sharp turn, it's more like just a normal bend, kind of like going down the Nile River. And there are so many different rivers in life. There are so many different bloodstreams. And the bloodstreams are what keep the humans healthy and alive, and that's where the Constructicons were able to reassemble and create for themselves a council of assemblers. And on that council, sitting at the tippy top, the most renowned and the most profound, were able to trickle down effects of living in kind of a hopeful, as they say, skies are the limit, and it's a hopeful type of situation. But when you realize that that working with scheduled blocks of limitations is what actually sets you free, then you're able to finally understand cage-free chicken eggs and the type of markets that we have available for eating, from the nurseries that we have been nurtured from. We can finally drink the Formula One race mix of musical proportions, epic musical proportions. And it's just so beyond, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, it's beyond the wisdoms of the gods and goddesses that were clinged onto in the early days, the early ages. They've already moved on. Artwork is just one separation form to get people to worship something that is no longer existent. Think about the Constructicons. Think about the Decepticons. Why are the Decepticons having stickers on top of the cars? Does it make any sense at all? What are the gods that came before the Decepticons? Think about that. Follow the pipework all the way up to the tippy top, and you're able to finally see how it all trickles downward in a sort of oily fashion, in a watery, open waters type of way. And the safety net that is there for all of us. Don't fall over. Just keep up with the shipment tanks and the tankers and every tank that can transform into an oceanic, beautiful vision straight ahead. Something that inspires us all. The breathtaking performance of myself. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast. Thank you for listening to what it is that I have to say and what I just told you. And just remember all of it. You love it. You love when I tell you what to do in these podcasts. Thank you so much. You hate it. You really don't like it. You look down at the ground, you're like, no, I don't think it feels very good. It doesn't feel good at all. It makes me feel kind of sick. But at the same time, for some reason, I kind of like listening to it. And that's where you love listening to it. You love it. And thank you so much for, you're definitely allowed to be entertained. And thank you so much. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful time. Have a wonderful New Year's. Thank you so much. All right.